Hey everyone, this is Scott from Forgot to Grow Up. Welcome to another edition of ReWatching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Today I'm talking about Season 5, Episode 22, The End. I'm just going to be starting off the plot summary and then just talking about my general thoughts after having just finished rewatching the season finale of Season 5 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm just going to be starting off that plot summary, which says, the team argues about the usage of the centipede serum until May destroys the opium vial. Deke advises Daisy to help unite the team and settle their differences. Under coercion, Daisy informs Talbot of a gravitonium deposit in Chicago, to which he commandeers Corvus's ship. Daisy chooses Mac to lead S.H.I.E.L.D., and he coordinates the team as they evacuate as many civilians as possible. Simmons provides Coulson with the centipede serum, but he refuses to take it and discreetly hides it in Daisy's gauntlets and convinces her to face Talbot alone. Daisy attempts to appeal to Talbot's patriotism, but Talbot attacks and attempts to absorb her. Discovering the serum, Daisy injects herself with it and uses her enhanced abilities to blast Talbot into outer space, thus changing the timeline. While rescuing Polly and Robin, Fitz is mortally wounded by falling debris, and May and Max stay by his side as he dies. Simmons resolves to find the present version of Fitz, who is in stasis aboard Enoch's ship. After bidding his fellow agents farewell, Coulson is accompanied by May as he leaves S.H.I.E.L.D. to spend his last days in Tahiti. So I just finished rewatching this episode. This is the last rewatch for a while. Now I'm on to season 6 in a few more days, but this episode is a very fitting one to kind of end this, at least the rewatch for now. I'll probably do a rewatch for season 6 before season 7 comes out, but that's another topic. But yeah, it's really fitting because I already talked about this a little bit, but this was originally supposed to be the end, as the episode as the episode title is called. This episode was originally supposed to be the series finale for the show. This was supposed to be the last Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode we ever got, and you can see that when you finish watching this episode, obviously, with Coulson saying his goodbyes and going to spend his last days in Tahiti, and then wrapping up the different, storylines, and then leaving it on a note that's open-ended enough that you can answer the questions yourself, or, do another couple seasons as they're doing for us, which I'm super excited about to see where we go. Some of my general thoughts about this season finale of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., not the series finale though, luckily for us. Some of my general thoughts about this episode. I really like that we get the team focusing on rescuing civilians in this last episode, not it turning into this big old fight of them all attacking him, because we already learned up to this point that wouldn't do no good, guys. So I like that, Mac and the team's first concern is trying rescuing everybody, and that because that's what S.H.I.E.L.D. is in the end, and I like that's how they had planned to end the series off, but at least that's how we end this season off. In retrospect, that they've renewed the series. I enjoyed that aspect. I really like the Daisy versus Talbot. It's just a very kind of brief fight, but it's kind of interesting seeing her try to appeal to his patriotism and his good nature, and the fact that, saying that he's always been a hero, he doesn't need superpowers, or you don't need superpowers necessarily to be a hero, but then him having, Talbot's at the this point where he has just zero trust left for anybody. He can't, and that's, probably due to a little bit of the influence of the gravitonium in him, but it's also been because so much, he's gone through a whole lot, so the fact that Daisy ends up having to shoot him into space, it had to happen. But I like that that's kind of the trigger in a sense for them to, change the timeline, which then leads to, Fitz dying in this episode, which is so sad. I remember when I first watched this episode, I almost cried. I might have cried. The rewatch, I didn't cry because I knew it was coming, and I knew the thing that I forgot when I was watching this episode the first time, which was that there was still Fitz, float around in space. I forgot that the first time I watched this episode. So this rewatch, I had that in my mind, so I was prepared for a little bit more. It is interesting watching this episode with, keeping in mind the fact that it was originally supposed to be the series finale, but then also taking into retrospect the fact that it's now not a series finale, and where we could go from here. What are some of the questions that they will kind of have to address in next season? It looks like from the trailer, at least, that we'll be addressing Fitz, Fitz coming back, so be really interesting to see where we go from there. But yeah, that's all. Oh, the last thing I had was just I like that they end this episode off with them all having a drink and saying goodbye. Again, I've already talked about it a bunch of times. Because this was originally supposed to be the series finale, you could really see that this was, this was their way of saying goodbye to not just Coulson, but to the show itself at the time. And I thought it was pretty fitting. If it had ended at that, I would have been satisfied, but I'm super happy that I've got another season or two coming out still that I get to enjoy and then rewatch eventually. Yeah, that's all my general thoughts for this episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. This brings me to the last of my rewatches until we get to the end of Season 6, and if there's Season 7 coming out, I'll be making a rewatch series for Season 6 then. But for now, this is the end. I will be doing videos for Season 6 as the episodes come out. They'll be coming out in the next couple of days, or the first episode will be coming out in the next couple of days, so I'll be doing a video for that each week. Be sure to join me for that. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, you should do that so that you can see those videos. But yeah, that's all my thoughts for today. Thanks again for joining me today. Thanks for joining me for all these rewatches for those of you who have, and thanks again for joining me. Have a good one.